You always start off your massage with an intake. I've already done the intake. We're going to cover that in another video on how to do a good intake. What we're going to focus on today is techniques. You always start off with placing the bolster. When they're face down or prone, you always put the bolster underneath the ankle. Some people tell the person to lift their legs. I'm not a fan of that because if they're here for relaxation massage, I like them to move as little as possible. So usually if I can, I will go ahead and lift their ankles and place it in myself. I have a bolster cover, so I don't necessarily have to go underneath both sheets. If you don't have a bolster cover, you'll have to go underneath both the fitted sheets. Since I have the bolster cover, and I generally do, I will just go right underneath her ankles. I'll lift them up and I'll place them here. Straighten the covers back in and I'll check with the client. Is that comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Is everything comfortable for you right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before you even start the massage, we place the bolster. The way massage works is, especially if the client doesn't know you, we're going to try to get them familiar with you. One way we do that is doing compressions. Some people call it rocking. It doesn't really matter what you call it. And we're not trying to get deep pressure or anything like that. Basically what we're trying to do is, the way the mind works is the mind tries to protect them. Tries to protect you from whatever's going on. So her mind, if she doesn't know me, her subconscious is already kind of weary of me, anything like that. We're trying to make that subconscious go at ease, because if you don't calm their subconscious down, their muscles stay tight. If you're making them nervous, they tend to tighten up and hold themselves, which completely counteracts everything we're trying to do in the massage. So what we're trying to do is make them comfortable. We try to create a sense of rapport so that subconscious starts calming down. And so before we ever start doing any kind of massage, you want to think of it like you're kind of unraveling a layer, like an onion, one layer at a time. We're going to try to do that with the subconscious, where we're trying to get her to relax her muscles from the outside in, making sure that her subconscious is comfortable, that she's comfortable. And you're going to start off by doing compressions. And now we're not doing deep compressions. All I'm trying to do is get her used to my touch. So I'm going to walk around and I start doing compressions. It doesn't matter where exactly you start. You just want to kind of go around and light compressions. Now, when you get to the glute area, what you're trying not to do is, obviously don't want to put your hand here. You don't want to make it seem like you're trying to grab anything or accidentally grab anything. Some people just place their hand here. I'll do a soft fist, closed fist, and I'll kind of walk around in that area, and then I'll go back to open palm. And they rub the feet a little bit. Again, we're just trying to get them relaxed. We're not trying to do anything in particular other than get her to calm down, or her subconscious to relax. Again, the glutes. Gotta reach around. Sometimes after I do my first bit around, sometimes I'll kind of come in a little bit deeper. See what I feel with my hands. If your hands get cold, a lot of times too, my hands get cold a lot. I'll try to do some superficial friction. Just rub the back a bit, trying to warm my hands up, warm her back up, particularly if it's a cold day. And it feels pretty good. And then make another round. I usually do about 2 rounds unless I'm really, really short on time. And I don't necessarily go that slow or that fast. I just kind of sense what I need, what the client may need. Okay. So one of the most important parts about massage, and that's the thing I was always worried about in massage school, was draping. I was always worried that I would do something or not be careful enough. So I'm always ultra vigilant when I'm doing draping, particularly with, at any time, particularly with females. So you want to make sure your draping's tight. You want to make sure that you are handling it professionally and doing the best you can to make sure that their modesty is kept at all times. We're going to try to keep it close to the body, peel it back. We want it to go a little bit further back than we normally would. The reason why we're doing that, one, we're trying to keep all the stuff close to the body so there's no draft coming underneath the covers. You don't want to take this and whip it where air comes down, particularly if they don't have any underwear on or any kind of undergarments, because that'll cause a draft, and you don't want any kind of draft or air to hit the genitalia area, because that does make people feel uncomfortable. So we pull this back. The other reason we're doing this is we're going to keep this far enough back so that the hands won't really touch it when they're coming in this way, and that keeps it from cross-contamination when we start using our cream. What I'm looking for is about towards their hips. So what I do is I take the actual flat sheet and I pull it back to about where I think I want it to be. You want to go to the point about the iliac crest, right in here. Straighten it up. You're going to take it about 1 hand's width apart. You're going to take the fitted sheet, pull it tight. You're going to take it from here. We want the slack out of it, and you're going to push it directly underneath, always palm down. That way it doesn't feel like you're trying to grab or reach or feel, so your hands are always down. If you do it this way, it can feel intrusive to the person on the table. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Same thing over here. It doesn't have to be exact. You're just trying to get it about where you got some slack in here. Make sure the hand's not in the way. Keep this bottom one tight, and it usually goes in pretty quick. Sometimes with flannel sheets like I have here, sometimes they stick or rub, or they have friction against each other, so it's really important there. Cotton sheets, not so much. I don't find cotton sheets stick as much. If you have 2 flat sheets, which some of the places do have the flat sheets, you get 2 flat sheets, it's a little more cumbersome, so it's really important that you have a tight connection to the bottom before you tuck in order to keep everything where it's supposed to be. So some people will take their fingers and go underneath the line of the underwear and tuck it in. It can feel very intrusive, and a lot of times when it comes to doing that, in some chains, that is a 0 tolerance offense and can get you fired. So I just go ahead and don't do that from the get-go, even though I've seen it happen a couple of times. Even though they may not say anything about it, the minute there's a barrier, and underwear is always a barrier, same thing with bras or socks or anything else that they leave on, that's a barrier they're keeping on. Anytime you go underneath that barrier, it feels intrusive. So even if they don't say anything, or even if it doesn't seem to bother them, it probably does, even subconsciously, because you've just broken a barrier that was unspoken. And we're going to try not to do that. Once you start making contact with a client, you want to keep making contact with a client. So I try to make it a habit. As soon as I start making contact, I keep my hand on them at all times. That's the reason why you're seeing my hand on her at any given time. When the client is face down, they can't see you. So if you pick your hand up, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this just for the sake of this video. If I pick my hand up and I'm away, if I'm not talking or doing anything, she cannot really see me. So if I'm walking around, she's not sure exactly where I am unless she can see my feet underneath where the face cradle is, or the face rest. And so it's very intrusive. So if all of a sudden I touch her back again and she's not familiar with me, or if she thinks I'm somewhere else, it can startle the client, and we don't want to do that. We want to try to make them feel as safe as possible. So as soon as you start massaging, you want to try to make contact at all times. Sometimes you forget, sometimes you don't. So if you do forget, I always try to put my hand in some place that won't shock them so bad, or I'll say, start talking, and I'll put my hand on their shoulder and then work my way back to wherever I was or wherever I need to go.